Okay, these are Matthew's siblings, Zana and Wilson, and this is their testimony about living in the house on the way to Savannah. They were very young at the time, so they're going to try to remember as much as they can. A lot of this is just trying to remember and getting confirmation. They know that they had experiences, but as they listen to the older siblings, now they're able to come out and say, yes, I had this experience, and it makes them feel more comfortable about the fact that, hey, I had this experience, and so did my older sister, and I didn't know that, or my older brother, and they realized they were not imagining things. So let's listen to their testimony. Zaina, go ahead.
The only thing I really can remember is really the incidents with the stairs and what people have told me, that I got pushed down the stairs as a younger infant. And as long as one thing that I do remember is a black room. I don't know if it was actually painted black or not, but in my eyes, the whole room was black. The walls, the ceiling, and whatnot. Always felt a overwhelming feeling. Can't really explain it, but I would wake up in the middle of the night and actually feel like somebody was on top of me, but it was emotionally, not a physical presence, but an emotional presence of a spirit, where I just get up and I cry, and I don't know why I'd cried. I remember going to my parents' room and crying, and my mom asked me what's wrong. Well, I didn't know. I just remember waking up having that feeling of fear over me, and like things going over my body, like I couldn't control it. It was like all I wanted to do, I could stare in the mirror and just cry at myself.
Did you feel cold or heat, or did it feel dark, or like it was pulling energy? Did you feel?
It was pulling energy. It was pulling energy so bad that it felt like, the one thing that I can't explain how it felt was, say if somebody had a thing of twine and tied it to you and was pulling you, and all you felt was just an uncomfortable tightness around you, like, you know, like I was being kind of taken, an emotional way, like I said, not a physical way, just an emotional experience.
Did you know that I went back to the house and did an investigation, and the spirit acknowledged that he did that to you? And I have it on video?
No.
How does that make you feel to know that I have confirmation that that happened?
That's kind of disturbing, because it not only lasted in that house, but it lasted with me up until I moved to the former residence, before I moved to my own house, back across the road from my grandparents and where my family actually stay now. That happened to me up until the point that I think I was like 12.
Well,
I just wake up randomly and feel that way.
well, the spirit acknowledged that he could follow and tether to people to try to pull energy. So that would go along with what the evidence said.
Right.
What about you, Wilson? Did you have any... It seemed like the girls had a lot of experiences. You mentioned that you had a lot of bad dreams.
Yeah, I had a lot of dreams. Reoccurring dream of this woman would be banging on our window with cookies. And me and Shree had a big room up in the front right corner of the house, and had a lot of windows, and it had the front porch off the roof, the front porch off the front. And I'd spend a lot of times playing by myself, you know, and really wasn't anything negative. Pretty much she told me where cool stuff was around the house. Like, I found a bunch of little treasures out in the yard and stuff. I found the Jesus and Mary statue that it was buried in the barn. It was bronze, about 7 inches tall. And found there used to be a bunch of these little rose and glass figures that would be buried all throughout the yard. And
what did they look like?
some of them would be little porcelain roses, and some would be skulls.
Did you ever see anything that looked like to do with salt?
No.
Or anything to do with cups?
I remember something to do with cups when I was younger, and I mean, I don't remember where exactly it was, but I could remember a cup that would also appear in my room a lot, and it was a white cup with two blue rings around the top.
That's so strange.
I would remember that a lot, and it was like a smaller coffee cup, not like an adult-sized coffee cup, but it was like a miniature coffee cup.
Do you feel like talking about it helps you kind of heal from the trauma a little bit, that everybody can talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, I think it also helps. It helps your memory when you hear other people talk about their experiences, because there are dreams that I had too, and things like that that strikes a memory when Wilson talks about things like that.
Well, Chelsea told me that she had seen a child come into her room regularly that was dressed in old Victorian garb that had half a face. One side of it was skull and the other was beautiful, and would warn her not to talk to the witch that came to the window. And then there was a woman that would carry her through the house that was nothing but bone and skeleton, and she would wisp through the house all the time.
No, I don't remember anything like that.
Yeah, but she said she saw that all the time, and she would stay cold whenever they would go by. And Matthew had seen a little girl in the window waving at him, and he thought that was Cherie. He had seen a bow in her hair, and he came back and he waved at her, and he went back in the house, and Cherie didn't have a bow in her hair, and she was sitting on the floor playing. And he's had a lot of other experiences as well. Of course, we all know about the wasp that stung him, and when Linda and Ken anointed him and prayed over him, there were no stingers on him.
Wow.
So that house is truly a mystery. Thank you for your testimony, and we'll try to get this out, because there's plenty of people that are struggling with spiritual warfare in their homes, and if they hear this, they'll know that they're not alone.
Right.
So you're helping people, that there is evil out there and it can be beaten. And that's the purpose of this documentary, okay?
Well, it also shows that, there are the evil spirits out there, but there are also a lot of spirits of people. I do remember when I was younger, when we lived back in Due West, when my grandmother, my great-grandma, Grandma Honey, she came to me in the sunroom that we used to stay in, and sat on the end of the bed and watched me play. And I think I was maybe 3 at the time when she passed away. And that must have been maybe close to a year after that. I remember her coming and sitting on the bed and just watching me, just watching me play, or watching me do whatever I was doing at the time,
And that had to be comforting.
Yeah, it was, and I think it's good that people realize, that they're not crazy if they see something like that, because sometimes they don't know what to believe. They don't know if they should believe themselves on it until you see more evidence of it, or you relate to other people. Then you have that confidence of saying, okay, well, maybe that is how that was, and not so. Whatever.
Right, that's exactly right. Because if I hadn't studied the way I have, I wouldn't believe half of what I know now.
Right, exactly.
All right, thanks, guys. Love you.